Welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Bob Sellers here with Allison Maloney. Ilhan Omar's words are getting her in trouble. Again, this time a contingency of her fellow Democrats, though, are speaking out against her. National correspondent Logan Ratick has the latest details. Logan.
That's right. A group of 12 Jewish House Democrats are condemning Omar, demanding she clarify comments made to Secretary of State Tony Blinken during a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing this week. Omar posted her questions to Blinken on Twitter, writing, quote, "We must have the same level of accountability and justice for all victims of crimes against humanity. We've seen unthinkable atrocities committed by the U.S., Hamas, Israel, Afghanistan, and the Taliban." She's facing bipartisan backlash, the latest condemnation from a group of a dozen Jewish House Democrats led by Illinois' Brad Schneider. They write, quote, "Equating the U.S. and Israel to Hamas and the Taliban is as offensive as it is misguided. Ignoring the differences between democracies governed by the rule of law and organizations that engage in terrorism discredits one's intended argument and reflects deep-seated prejudice. The United States and Israel are imperfect and, like all democracies, at times deserving of critique, but false equivalencies give cover to terrorist groups. We urge Congresswoman Omar to clarify her words, placing the U.S. and Israel in the same category as Hamas and the Taliban." Omar is accusing them of using, quote, Islamophobic tropes in their statement, which they released after a meeting of 25 Jewish House Democrats to discuss a condemnation, but only about half signed on, with some notable absences including David Cicilline, Steve Cohen, Jamie Raskin, and Adam Schiff. And on the other side of the aisle, Congressman Lee Zeldin, one of two Jewish House Republicans, is issuing a more forceful condemnation than the Jewish Democrats, writing, quote, "Ilhan Omar must be removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. She should have never been appointed to this committee in the first place." And we'll likely see the GOP take floor action in the House, whether it be a move to censure or strip Omar of her committee assignments. And there's a good chance that at least a dozen Democrats could join them if they move to do so. Back to you.
Logan, thank you. Our next guest, noted economist Peter Morici, believes the GOP faces a tough road to win majorities in both the House and Senate in 2022. In his latest column, titled "Republicans Need a National Platform to Win in 2022." He says the GOP needs a comprehensive platform and consistent messaging to shift attention away from former President Donald Trump. He also emphasized that the GOP can capitalize on what voters don't like about the Biden agenda, such as the rise in inflation, the increase in crime in major cities, the crisis at the border. Joining us now to discuss is former chief economist for the U.S. International Trade Commission, Peter Morici himself. Peter, I think what you're suggesting, like last time we talked or the time before, we were talking about a contract with America. You want to clearly define what Republicans would stand for so people didn't just have to say, oh, that's the Trump party, but this is what the party itself stands for. And going forward, that's what we're voting for.
Right. There shouldn't be a Mitch McConnell party either. There shouldn't be a Trump party. There should be a set of principles and programs that Republicans stand for. So it's an easily identifiable brand. One of the things the House progressives have done is create a Democratic brand. And God bless them for doing it, because it's a great target. You know, more and more Americans, especially moderate swing voters, view socialism as a threat. More and more voters view Joe Biden as too liberal. And look, we see the fruits of it. How long has this guy been around? Less than 6 months. We got rampant inflation. Crime is on the rise in our cities. I mean, Vladimir Putin's friends are shutting down our hospitals with techno-piracy and so forth. And Joe Biden's Secretary of State says, well, we're engaged in raising the issue forcefully with them. I mean, I'd like to know, is the Pentagon so inept, the Air Force so inept, that we can't make the lights flicker a little bit in Moscow when this happens to send a message? I can't believe that a bunch of hackers in Romania or Bulgaria or what have you, using some Russian tools, can create this kind of havoc over here, and we can't send them a message.
Peter, do you think that the Republicans are starting to do that? A lot of, critics will say that they're really a divided party. You have Trump, but then you have Republicans. Do you think they're starting to come together and realize, like, we got to win the Senate? In 2022, this is extremely important, and that they're coming together? Or do you think it's just not really happening?
No, I think they're a bit fractured because of the Trump issue. You know, the thing is if you are in Trump territory, and if you're someplace in Georgia or, in Alabama, and you're running for Congress, and, President Trump says he was chiseled out of the election, the voters believe him, you align with that, you're in good shape. If you're in a swing district that you might be able to wrestle back in Western New York and you take that position, that might not work so well. So rather than confront Trump about that, I mean, Donald Trump's going to do what Donald Trump wants to do. God bless him. Let him do it. Focus on the accomplishments of the prior 4 years, what conservative policies delivered, 2.5% growth. Joe Biden has already conceded the field. He said the best I can do is 1.8 once the stimulus wears off. Focus on what they want to accomplish post-2022, and leave the field open to anybody who wants to run for president. If Donald Trump's nominated, support him. If someone else is nominated, support him. But by and large, who's ever elected is going to embrace those principles, much as Mr. Trump did.
Yeah, I think
Mr. Trump did not run on a pro-growth sort of platform, but rather he ran as Donald Trump and then embraced republicanism. Create the brand.
Yeah, I think he did run on, I think it's safe to say, an anti-Washington populist mood. So I wanted to get your reaction to the latest numbers on inflation and a year-over-year comparison. The price of lumber, for instance, up 250%, steel up 67%. And these numbers are up or down from here because these are a couple days old. Gas, 52% higher than a year ago. Then we had the numbers out this morning, Consumer Price Index. Let's take a look at that this morning, and that was high. Look at this trend right here, which you were referring to, Peter, up 5% year over year in the month of, that was in April. I think it was May. That was in May.
He was warned by Democratic economists that are not in the White House, not the ideologues he's hired. His violin lesson, obsessive National Economic Council chairwoman, but rather by prominent Democratic economists that he was overdoing it, that it was too much stimulus. And the Fed, he's been leaning on them to monetize it, to print money, to buy the bonds that he's selling so interest rates don't go up. And you've got it. But, don't focus on lumber or even steel. Those prices will come back down.
That's what I wanted to ask you about very quickly, Peter.
That never go down. For example, year over year, the price of visiting a physician is up over 4%.
Wow.
That's not a spike. When was the last time your doctor lowered what he charges you for an office visit?
Right. Yeah.
Or when was the last time a pair of glasses cost less? The thing is stuff like Campbell's soup is going up. Yeah. That's not volatile. Or the price of Tide is going up.
Peter,
that's not volatile. Ask the people in the family, in the household, that do the grocery shopping. Yes. The staples are going up.
Peter, I hate to be rude. I would talk to you all day long. And by the way, I'm on your list, so I read your columns that you send out. So I appreciate it.
Do you feel enlightened?
Yeah, every time I read them, absolutely.
Every time,
I feel like an adult, I feel like an idiot, and then I read them and I feel enlightened. Peter, thank you so much. Peter Marisi.
Take care.
All right. He's always fun to talk with.
He's great. He explains things because the economist.
He does. For an economist, he makes it interesting.
He does.
And he's back to the bow tie. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, you can take us around wherever you go with the free app for your iPhone or Android phone. It's free. It's called Newsmax TV. We know that's compared to cable subscriptions. Also, over 7 million people have downloaded it on their OTT devices, and we appreciate you taking us with you. Newsmax TV, that's what it's called. We think that you'll like it.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.